I'm Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. It's been about a week since the last time I posted, and I was having trouble coming up with what I wanted to talk about, or even if I felt like talking about anything. So I had my daughter help me brainstorm on what she thought I should talk about in this video. So this is what I'm doing today. It is currently Tuesday, June 9th. First I wanted to talk about what everyone is talking about in our country and sometimes in other countries as well. I'm talking about racism and how Black Lives Matter. I feel like I have a little bit of perspective on it because I was treated differently growing up because I have mixed heritage. I have German, Irish, and Scottish. But then I also have Black, Mexican, Spanish, and Indian from southern Mexico as well. So I have a mixed bag of things going on in my blood, which, you know, as some of you can see, I'm not exactly as pale as other people out there on YouTube, which is fine. I used to get picked on growing up as a child because I would always get so tanned. I looked like I was black compared to my sister or my brother or even other friends I went to school with. I got ridiculed because I have mustache hair that comes in dark. One time I got ridiculed because I got a perm in junior high on the Oregon coast, and my perm came out and it puffed out like an afro, and then this girl who was like, you know, one of those cheerleader type girls in school decided my name forevermore should be Froey, like an afro. It was not a cute name. It's not a fun name. And people in my junior high in Oregon coast did not believe that my cousin was my cousin because she's blonde hair, blue eyes, and very pale compared to me. So I've experienced that difference. Not as bad, nowhere near as bad as what's been going on in the news. But I have not lived a sheltered life compared to other people that I know. My daughter, one of my daughters, looks like her dad. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Pale as can be. People thought when she was a baby up to 2 years old that I adopted her because we look so drastically different in our coloring. And then when my other daughter was born, who looked like I went and had her made at a cloning center, people thought I adopted her older sibling for her, until I made some choice words to some people in our neighborhood and people stopped talking about that. But to this day, I still get asked, are those all your kids from the same dad? Do they all have the same father? And now that I'm remarried, and they ask me, oh, how old are your kids? How long have your husband been married? And then I tell them, they get all confused looks because my husband and I have only been together 5 years. My youngest son, who looks like a carbon copy of my husband, his stepdad, is 7. So then I have to say, oh, they're his stepchildren, but they're still his kids. They're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, everyone needs to know whose DNA is who. It's ridiculous. I don't like it. I think that's all the tangent I'm going to go on about that. I asked my daughter what she thought racism was, and she was surprised to know that racism is not just against black people. It's not between, like, treating black people differently from white people. That people of all different races and heritages are treated differently. That was news to her. So I feel like I need to do some educating with my own children about what racism is and how it affects everyone around you, not just people who are black versus white. Because, like I explained to her, everyone experiences racism and being treated differently. Right now, the focus is Black Lives Matter because there's more racism and brutality happening against black people as opposed to other people of other different types of races and heritages. I can't talk today. That's how I'm going to mispronounce that word. Alright, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, if you made it this far, great. And I'm glad that you're still here. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was my book. And I've talked about it in my videos here and there, but I think I just want to talk about some more here. Okay, so my camera died, so I had to switch devices. So let's pick up where I left off. So I wanted to talk about the book that I've been writing. Like I was saying before, I got the idea for the book when I was 17, 18 years old. I read, I think it was Million Little Pieces or another book similar to that. And I was like, I could write a book like that because not pleasant things happened to me growing up. My life was not always pleasant. It wasn't always unicorns and rainbows and yay. So I really thought that I would be able to write a book. It took me until now to be able to write it. I also would start writing it and stop and start and stop. Once I stopped working my overnight hours at a hotel doing night auditing, I was going to get another job. But then my husband told me, why don't you stay home, don't worry about getting another job, and work on your book. Well, I said, okay, I would tweak it here and there. In April, beginning April, I switched my 5,000 words I had written in third person point of view, and I switched around to first person point of view. At this point, my novel is just over 37,000 words. I have a rough draft copy with a couple of different people, like friends of mine, people from church, someone in another state, just to see what they think. My husband has read it, but not all of it in one chunk from beginning to end. I'll write some and I ask him, how does that sound? How does this sound? My book is based on true events, true facts, true things that happened. There are some parts of it that my brain just doesn't remember what happened. So I added things in there that I felt would have happened to take it from being in a house and bailing out a parent from jail to being in a group foster home. What would have likely have happened? So I asked people involved in the law enforcement area expertise, and they said yes, those things would likely have happened. I mean, each state is a little bit different, so it was odd to be writing about stuff that happened to me and remembering to write it to show what happened, not just tell what happened. This is what happened to me. This is what I did. This is what I said. This is what happened. I need to have a balance of a good showing and dialogue that's feasible and not very dry and made up. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that it's actually likely to happen. So I printed it out, and then I read it, and then I was editing it, reading through it, and I figured there was a few parts I repeated myself a little bit, and so I scratch those out, and I repeat, and I need to figure out how to make it so that I remember that in my book, the word dad and grandma and grandfather are all capitalized because it's someone's particular name. My dad, my mom, my stepmom. And there's some parts in the book where I write stepmom with one word and stepmom with a hyphen. I need to pick one way and then write it. One thing that I've always have done when I correct other people's writing is I've always been really gung-ho on the whole, you don't need to write the word that so many times. In fact, the first book that I edited for another author, I edited out the word that like 119 times. And I know that because I still have my editing document in Google Docs, and I counted to see how many times I edited out that word. And it was like 119 times. A lot of times I see authors who I've edited for will write, she said that. It was as if he thought that. We don't need that word. So there's that. I just said it again. I really enjoyed editing for other people. And I think it was a good thing that I edited for other people. It's got me back into having my creative juices flowing and making everything, getting a pattern, getting a schedule. This is what I'm going to do in the evening. This is what I'm going to do during the day. I, for one, cannot write during the day because I have 3 kids. And even if the kids were out and about all the time and they were older, I don't think I'd be able to sit down and write during the day. I'm more of a like 7 o'clock onward, 7 o'clock to midnight, 2 a.m. sometimes type of writer. So that's when I write my book. I've also had the opportunity to be an ARC reader for another indie publisher, someone who self-publishes their books, and I connected with them through here on YouTube. I was able to be an ARC reader for Pistol Daisy by Natalia, Leigh. I think I'm saying her last name correctly. It just got released on Kindle, and I really liked doing that. I like being able to read someone else's book and give them an honest review about it. Honestly, I think it'd be very hard for me to find a book that I didn't like. In fact, I got to the end of her book, and I was surprised that... Sorry, it's raining. I got to the end of her book, and I was surprised that it was ending. Like, I knew it was a shorter book, but I was still surprised at the ending and made me want to read more books about the same character, Pistol Daisy. So, I am also a beta reader for another author I met through Instagram, I believe it was, and she sends us 2 to 3 chapters, and she asks us questions about it. I'm really excited to see her end product on that book. And finally, I wanted to talk about my planning and organization process. In the last 4 years, I think I've tried half a dozen different types of planners. I've tried the Happy Planner, I've tried piecing it together, I've tried horizontal planning and vertical planning, I've tried plum paper planner, I've tried regular planners from like Target, and I haven't found one that I like because sometimes I have a lot to say, sometimes not. I have journals that I have little pieces of notes here and there. So I do have a plum paper planner, but I'm also giving this a whirl, an idea that I have, which is bullet journaling. If anyone hasn't heard what bullet journaling is, just Google it on YouTube, go to bulletjournal.com. Just a very minimalistic way that you can record your ideas, your thoughts, your schedule, your plans, and your goals in a compact journal. This journal I got on Amazon for $8.65, which is a lot less than any of the planners I've bought out there in the last 4 years. I'm going to walk you through what I set up in this bullet journal. Okay, so I'm doing this part with my phone because I haven't figured out how to make my camera go upside down. Alright, so let's take a look here and see how I set it up. So first I have the index. The index is where you label your pages and the page numbers, so when you get more and more pages in here, you don't have to flip through back and forth all these pages. I have almost 200 pages in here. This book gives you 1, 2, 3, 4 index pages. And then my first page is the key. It's key is like the symbol that you're going to use for different tasks in there. I'm going to see how I do with this one. I'm going to see if I even keep up with the keys, the key symbols. Next, I have 2020 and a quote for the year. I listed down some goals that I want to accomplish by the end of the year. This is a future log. This one took me forever to do. I think I worked on this for like 2 days, this spread. Just because of how tedious it is, and the lines, and filling in all the calendar numbers. But I'm only using this bullet journal at the very most until December. So I have June through November here. And then I have December. Then I have a title page for June. And then I have the June calendar monthly spread. I have a spot for goals, a running to-do list, and then I put everything, all my appointments on here. Not sure if I'm doing it right, as if there's even a right way to do a monthly spread. Next, I have a couple of trackers. I want to keep track of my word, how many words I write this month. It is already the 10th of June, and I haven't written that much. I've only read one book this month. I have about 18 books that I purchased through Amazon Kindle that I need to read. I would like to read. So we'll see how that goes. Then I have my first weekly spread. I did these boxes, and I have appointments and people's work schedules. Jeez, that light is horrible. I have notes and ideas. This one says YouTube video chatting about my bullet journal editing and adding chapters. And that's what I'm doing just now. And then I have just a running to-do list for the week. And if anything that I don't get done, I can just move over to the next week. And then that is it. I haven't figured out which way I want to do my weekly spreads, but this is one way that I found that I thought I might try. All right, everybody. I think that is enough rambling for this video. I know I covered a lot of different topics, but that's me and how my brain works. I have a hard time sticking to one topic, and I'm still trying to figure out the types of videos I want to publish on here. I don't have any words of wisdom of this is how you should write, or this is how you should outline, or not outline, or pants, or plot, or short stories, or novels, or novellas, or these are the books that you need to read or don't read. I honestly started this YouTube channel as a way to just share my writing process. So my writing process is all over the place. I don't have one true way to get my words down on paper. Although I do know that if I participate in live write-ins on YouTube with everyone else writing at the same time, I get a lot of words written that way, as opposed to me trying to find time to write it myself. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up. I wanted to thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. And I will see you next time.